Everyone, this is Nick with Draftbit. I'm joined again this week by George. George, say what's up.
Hey guys, happy to be here for another office hour. It's like 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. All right. If you were at office hours last week, you saw George demo some pretty killer stuff. And so this is George's encore performance. George today is going to walk us through setting up an entire low code, soon to be no code authentication setup with our friends at Xano's very powerful backend tool. So low code email password authentication with Draftbit and Xano. That is the title of today's, is that right? Email password, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's the title of today's live stream. If you all have questions or comments for George, drop them in the chat now or whenever you want. Even if you don't have questions, why don't you drop us a line in the chat and say hi, yeah, who you are, where you're from. We would appreciate that. And also, but I remembered to ask it this week, copy the URL of your browser right now and share it on your social media platform of choice so that we can have other people get to watch this as well and tell them how cool you think Draftbit is. Cool. So I think this week, George, we're going to jump right into it. We have a ton of things coming down the pipeline that we'll probably announce officially next week. But I don't think I have a ton to show what's new in Draftbit today because they're all behind feature flags still. Actually, you're going to see a few of those things in George's demo today. George is going to demo some things that you don't have access to just yet, but give us a few days and you will. Cool. Oh, we got the highs rolling in. What's up, William?
From Tunisia. Nice.
Hey, I'm going to butcher this name, but hey, Chokri from Tunisia. Awesome to have you. Yeah, keep them coming, everyone. All right, so George, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. So this is my screen. You know what I'm going to start off by doing is showing you the end result of it all, and then we'll kind of build it from scratch so everybody can follow along. So I'm going to assume you can see my screen here. Yeah. So when you make an app on Draftbit, you can publish it in a PWA. That's what we're looking at right now. So this is an app that I made this week to do, as Nick said, a very, very, very low code Xano authentication. So sign up, log in, log out. So this is what it looks like. This is your home screen. You can sign up. And I'm going to also show you the database just so you see that things are actually going through. So this is Xano we're looking at right now. I have a bunch of test user. So I'm going to create a new user. I'm going to say user9@draftbit.com and going to give it a password. And here I am. Now on the home page, I'm logged in. This is kind of a debug thing for me. You don't have to care about that too much, but I'm logged in as user9. I can log out. I can create a user 10, and then essentially the same thing. And then I can log out again and log in this time as user 9, the one I previously created. And all of that should be working seamlessly. And now I see user 9. So as a side note, that's what I love to do authentication workflow. We've done it so far with Bubble, backendless, Firebase. Now it's Xano, and I think authentication just illustrates a lot of the things you need for any app. You need to get data from a third party, retrieve it, parse it. You might have to extract a token in it. You have to save that token in your app. You have to reuse that token later on for further requests. You have to be able to distinguish the user if they log in or log out, ensure two different kind of UI depending on which it is. So all of those use cases you have to do them authentication, but you have to do it in many part of your web application. That's why authentication is such a self-contained workflow to work on.
George, something I noticed, sorry to interrupt, but something I noticed in this implementation is, so when you logged in, I know this is really hard. This increases the complexity of the implementation, but you're actually returning, in this case, you're kind of like replaying back the email address of the logged in user, but you could do the same thing for, like, you could say like, hey, welcome back, George. If your user table had, first, last name, you could basically return data, or it looks like you are returning data in the authentication request, and you can kind of conditionally display that information from the server on the initial authentication request. Is that how I understand what you did?
Yeah, it's a very good point. In this app, the one I demoed, I'm actually doing a second call to like a auth me or auth myself endpoint to, now that I have my auth token, get all the information about myself. But that's a separate endpoint, which is good. That works, and you can use that for many other endpoints. What I've also been able to do with Xano specifically, because they let you customize the response that logging and sign up those endpoints return, you can put the user object right in the response. And then you can just, as you get the response, just use that information and just pass it as like a navigation parameter to the second screen and just show that like welcome Nick or welcome George thing without having to do another request to get that information. So way more efficient. You're saving a call, and you also demonstrate very well like kind of the power of what you can do with Xano with those like custom response. So I haven't. It's not, you don't see it here in the app, but I've done it in another one, and maybe if we have time today, I'll demonstrate how we can do that.
Okay, cool. That can be a stretch goal for today.
Exactly.
Joey asked, I don't know if you have. Joey from the Philippines asked, what if you enter dummy email? So I think that he means like, what happens if you enter an email that's not in the user table? Do we have request failure logic in this setup?
Yeah, sorry, my cough. Yes, great question. If you make a mistake, the demo app I just showed doesn't handle errors, so it's not going to work. That said, after I made this app, like I quickly mentioned, I made another one that does handle error, and that does show you like, oh, your email is wrong, or this email is already taken, or things like that. So that works. And again, if we have time today, I'll also show some of that. So to answer Joy's question, like the capability to do that exists, and I've used it myself, so we can definitely do that.
Sweet. Cool. We already got 2 stretch goals for today.
Yeah, it's a lot to accomplish. Okay. So should I just get started? All right.
Yeah,
as well.
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm going to go to Draftbit. This is my dashboard. Here we go. I got a couple of workspace for myself. The app you just saw is this one. So, just built that a few days ago. We're going to create a brand new one. We're going to call it low code Xano Auth. It's explicit. Give it a minute. It loads everything. All right. So this is a brand new app. Sorry. And on the Xano side, I have a couple of tables in my database, including a user one. I'm not going to show how to recreate the user table for a couple of reasons. For time, it's a big reason. And also, I actually do believe that it comes already built in as soon as you create a new Xano project. If there are some like Xano guys in the chat, let me know if I'm saying something wrong. But I think that table already is built in. So by default, you have a user table with like a creation date, name, email, password, and your avatar. I might have added the avatar, but anyway, you get the idea. So I'm not going to reproduce that. You can ignore the other table for now. We're only going to use user. What I'm going to do though is create a brand new API group in Xano. So you see, that's the one I use for the app I demoed. That's the one I use for another app I'm making for myself. But I'm going to create a new API group. I'm going to call it the same way the Draftbit app is called. enough. That way we can really kind of do it all from scratch. Okay. So on the Xano side, what I want is to have 3 endpoints, one for sign up, one for login, and one for auth me, just getting the information about the authenticated user. So I'm going to add an endpoint on the authentication side. I'm going to start with sign up on the user table. And honestly, this is done. That's how easy Xano is. It's literally like, what, 4 click. So I'm going to add a couple more. I'm going to do, excuse me, I got something in third. Authentication, we're going to do login. Same thing, like 4 clicks. And then I'm also going to do that auth me call. Okay, so that's done. We can very quickly test it. So here's my sign up call. I'm going to test it. I'm going to call it foo with foo@draftbit.com, and it's going to be foo123456. That's the user I'm going to create. I'm going to run it, and boom, I got an auth token. The user was created. I can go and check in the database. Here it is at the very end, foo. All right, so that worked perfectly. Next endpoint I'm going to try is the login one. Again, all of that is so not straightforward in Xano. It's really nice. So foo123456. So I'm going to try to log in, and here it is. I'm getting my auth token when I log in. And the very last one I'm going to test in that auth me. And for that, I do need to pass it that auth token, because you'll typically do a login call, get the auth token, and then use that auth token to get the information about the authenticated user. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to run it, and boom, all the information I need about that foo user. And honestly, that's it. We're done on the Xano side. So I'm going to now start and create my Draftbit app. Nick, I'm not doing a great job at following the chat. So if you have any questions,
I got you.
Okay, feel free to interrupt me. Okay, so on this side, on the Draftbit side, we got a home page. I'm going to go a little bit styling, but I'm going to go pretty quick because we've done that at many other videos. I'm going to just do 3 pages essentially. Type the wrong number. I'm going to actually do it the right way. Somebody on our team gets mad at me when I use the margin on screen instead of a padding. Here we go. So this is going to be my home page. Boom. What else do I need? I'm going to center that text. I'm going to duplicate that page. That way I gain a little bit of time. One is going to be sign up page. And I'm going to also duplicate this one to be my login page. Okay, I'm just going to change the title. Oops, here it is. Sign up. Oh, we don't want that. We don't want 2 lines. I went too big. Okay, let's do 60. Much better. This one is login page or screen. What do I keep? I'm back in the days. I'm originally a web guy, so I keep calling it page, but they're really screens. I'm gonna make that 60. Okay. Sign up, login, home. Okay, cool. Now in home, I'm gonna essentially make a view, and inside that view, I'm gonna make 2 buttons. One is gonna be solid, one is gonna be the outline. The first one is gonna go to the sign up. The other one is gonna go to login. Here you go. So the way you add interaction in Draftbit, you go to that little interaction tab. You got actions. I'm going to navigate to my sign up screen. I'm going to call the component that way. It's easier for me. Okay, and same thing here. I'm going to navigate to my login screen. Boom, login. Okay. I'm going to, once we're logged in, what we will want to show is a log out button. So I'm going to just make it here very quick. Okay, and this one is not going to navigate anyway. It's going to run a custom function, but we'll actually it's going to set a global variable. But we'll see that in a sec. What I'm going to do is make it border. I'm going to change that color so we know it's a logout button and we don't click on it by mistake. Here we go. So I got all my button. We're just gonna, little bit of margin never hurts to be more readable. Okay, and this is my title, and my title is also gonna be okay. That's my home screen. How does it look? Oh, it's all right.
Looks great. Oh, we lost George. This happened last week too. He'll be back in a second. So basically what George is doing right now is coming back into the chat.
Oh no, what happened?
We lost you last week too. That was weird. Just for a second though.
All right. Well, that's a good reminder. If the connection is not that good, feel free to tell me in the chat.
It was looking pretty good up until.
Okay.
It happens.
I know. It's Massachusetts internet. It's taking a break every now and then. Gotta recharge. All right. So those are my screens. Let's. Oh, and in those screen, I'm just gonna add for now. I'm gonna. What are we gonna need? We're gonna need an email and a password. Yeah, pretty obvious. So 2 of those, and then 1 button to submit. Submit solid. And then what I'm gonna add at the end too is I'm gonna put a link to go back in case you want to cancel. I don't know if you did not really want to be on the screen. This one is gonna be sign up. All right. This one is going to be email, and this one is going to be password. Okay. So, oh, did I type the wrong? I typed the wrong text input. Let me check. Text input. No, I think. Oh, okay. Good. All right. So this is my email. I'm going to put a better placeholder name so we don't get confused. This is my password. We're going to mark it as like a password input, so it does like the *** thing. Okay. What else do I need here? You know what? I'll stop with the study now. Otherwise, I know myself. I'm going to spend way too much time on that. And I'm just going to focus on functionality. So sign up. This one is going to be called cancel. Now, my cancel link, I want it to go back to my home screen. And the sign up, it'll be a more involved action. But so I'm going to quickly do the same thing here. Input, button, and then a link. Okay, so email, password, login button, and cancel. So after this, we should be done with just the starting stuff. Email. Oh yeah, I'm going to call it login email value. Login email is fine. Login email, and this one is going to be login password. Okay, That's the name we're going to reuse later on when we do, when we connect those fields to the action that we want to do. So that's why it's kind of important that we remember those names. Password, make it a password field. Okay, this one, we're going to call it login. We're almost done. This one is going to be cancel. The cancel action is going to be to navigate to the home screen. Okay, and because I might have forgot, I'm just going to make sure those, yeah, so this one is also going to be sign up email. Oop. Sign up password. All right, let's take a break. See how it looks. Let's preview it. Oh, that's my tab. Okay, so export is loading. Let's see what we got. Okay, this is my home screen. I'll show you how to get rid of the top thing. All right, sign up. We go to sign up, cancel, login, goes to login and cancel. Okay, and logout doesn't do anything yet. All right, well, that's great. That's going to be most of the UI that we have to do. There's one thing I was going to do. Oh, yeah, in my navigation, I can tell it to not show that header mode. So now that little thing at the top is just going to be gone. Just the stylistic thing. Okay, so next step is in sign up, I want that sign up button to do something. I want it to submit some data. And when you click submit data, it's going to ask you for like an endpoint, right? You need a service and an endpoint. And so I'm going to go and set those up because I haven't done any of the, I did my Xano side, but I haven't kind of connected the two. So that's what I'm going to do here. I go to that data model and I can set a REST API. I'm going to call it Xano. Now going back to my Xano, Xano. Why do I say Xano? I guess my European way of pronouncing the X. So going back in Xano, I copy paste the base URL, and then when I come here, I can just paste it here. All right, I should not have to do anything here. So that should just work. Okay. Now, so the service is done. I'm gonna add the 3 different endpoints. So the first one is gonna be my auth /sign up. And just go to sign up. Here we go. And it is a post, as you can see here. So I'm gonna make it a post. Here we go. This is what the path is, sign up. All right, I'm double checking I'm not making mistakes. Now, what's the body of that request again? Let's go check. All right, that's the body. That's why I need to pass it. So I'm going to copy paste that body. I'm not going to do anything with the name for now. What you can do is when you sign up, you can, in addition to ask for the email and password, and ask for the name and avatar and all of that. I'm keeping it super simple. It's just email and passwords. I'm going to leave the foo thing. All my users are going to be named foo, but just know that you can change that if you want. Okay, so I need an email and I need my password. Okay. Now I can add I want to test that endpoint, right? So I'm going to give it some test value. So the email is going to be bar@draftbit.com. And this one is going to be bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So let's see. Header, it should all be in there. Let's test it. All right. And so it went through. I even got the auth token for that user. Let's look at the database, see if that user was properly created. I mentioned it's going to be named foo, but that's the bar thing. That's the one I just added. So that worked. Excellent. We got one endpoint. When I'm at it, I'm going to do the logging one. Now the logging one, let's go back, is a post as well. And it's just auth/login. And what's the format of the body? Let's find out. You can run that thing. Well, obviously, it's a very similar format. That makes sense. Password. Okay. So You know, it's foo bar. What's the third one? Where do people go? I always feel like there is a
I only
third
know
one.
foo and bar.
Yeah, that's what most people know.
I'm going to Google it for you.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, sure. But otherwise, I'm
Is it
just gonna
Baz,
click.
B-A-Z?
Oh yes, Baz. Did you come up with that? Someone suggested it.
I typed foo space bar into my Google browser, and that was the first result.
It is exactly that.
Aman's got your back here too.
Nice. Okay, so let's try Baz. Header test. Oh wait, being a little stupid here. I'm testing the logging endpoint. So it actually needs to be a user that exists, obviously. So I should actually use that bar one that I created earlier. Sorry, all that was for nothing. But here it is. So I try to connect as bar, and I got the auth token, and it worked. All right, last one, and then I can do more fun stuff. Now, what does this one take? It's a get call. So this one is slightly different. It's auth/me. Now that's where it becomes interesting. This one, if you remember, you need to pass it the auth token. So the way that works in Draftbit is when you're setting up your header, you want to say authorization, and then like find the value that you need to give it. So I need to create in Draftbit this like variable where I'm going to save the auth token. So I'm going to do just that. If you exit out of this, and you go to your project settings, we got this device variable that is essentially like an async storage variable. It's going to stay with your user's phone. Even when they close the app, reopen it, it's going to be there. So that's going to be where I save the auth token for that specific user. So there are many ways to do it. What I like to do is call it authorization header and just already put the bearer with kind of a default value that they'll just, what you probably want to do here is have nothing at first. And you'll see at the end, we'll just move it back to having nothing. But it'll help me testing out for now if I can just use my own. So I'm just going to log in as that user, for example, doesn't matter what user, and use that auth token here. Okay, so now I got my Xano authorization header. I'm going to save that. Quick little note: you can always, I'm going to put a little debug at the end here. You can always access those variables if you do like Xano authorization header, and I'm gonna call it header, and I'm gonna map that to that variable. So you can always access that variable. So now it shows up here as like a little debug, the thing I just entered. We're gonna make that a little lighter, a little smaller, because it is a debug after all. Is that too light? No, it's perfect. Look at this. All right. So going back, now that we have that variable, I can go back to my to creating my auth me endpoint, and in the header I should be able to add authorization, and here it is. I can reference that variable. So let's see if I can log in now as foo. Excellent. So I got all my information about that specific user by using that auth token. Okay, and I'm essentially done here to set up all my endpoints. We only have 3. It's only 3 endpoints necessary to do all your authentication stuff in Xano. So this is done. I'm going to close this.
George, I have a quick question about Xano. So when I set up things like Airtable, I have a global API key that I use to auth the service. So when you set up Xano, it seems like it's kind of open by default. And then can you lock it down with a global key, or are the URLs open by default? That might be a better question for the Xano team.
So you have a way in the API to say, toggle authentication. So all the endpoint in Xano that have that thing on, like locked, like this one, means that you will have to pass it the authentication, the auth token. So for logging sign up, you don't need to because you don't have one. You're trying to get one. For auth me, you're supposed to have one because you want information about yourself. So if you look at, another app I've been creating, like, and I have a bunch of endpoint here, you see that some of them are open, but like most of them, like the one about like, did I like that post or not? They're all going to be closed. I'm going to be forced to give it a auth token. And just the list of all the posts from the community are an open endpoint. So they don't require authentication. So everybody can just access that. Does that answer your question?
I think my question was more about the service overall. When you're adding the service to your app, is the service authenticated with a global variable, not a user variable, not a device variable, but a global variable, an app variable, I think is what we call it now. Is that a thing, or is it because the endpoints are secure by default that you don't need an app variable?
Right, I think I understand what you mean. So like, can literally anybody go there and use that endpoint? I think that's the case now. If like those endpoints are like, going to be hard to like discover by yourself, but I think they technically open unless you put auth on it. Feel free, the Xano guys, to correct me in the chat if I'm wrong.
Cool, thanks.
All right. So let's see, where was I? Got my thing. All right, so sign up. So I'm trying to get back on track. I got my email, password. Now I'm going to try to do a sign up. Let's give it a try. So I'm going to add an action on the sign up button. That action is going to be to submit data to the Xano service and specifically to the sign up endpoint. And in response, the response I get is going to be called sign up. I'm going to decide to call it sign up response. So already you're seeing one of the 3 exciting features that we are kind of announcing today. This one is the ability. Surprise! We're announcing 3 very interesting feature that's like the trifecta of what you need to do authentication without any code. I'll go through them. The first one is being able to, when you make a post request, get the response and do something with it. It used to be up until now that you make your post request and then you move on to something else, but you weren't able to get that response and maybe pass it or do different things depending on that response. So now we let you essentially save that. So it's going to be saved in that sign up response object. So that's the first thing. Just kind of, I'm debating if I should talk about the 2 other now, but like very quickly. So you get your response, you can save it. Another feature we're announcing today is we now have a way to apply kind of a custom transformation function on any object. So that response, you can run it through like any kind of code. So that's great if you want to like, pass your JSON and go and pick out just one, like just the auth token, for example. So that's the big second feature we're announcing. And the last one is when you do all that, the ability to, in the UI, not in custom code, in the UI, you can now set any variable. So you saw me add like a variable here. So I have a way now to like set my variable. So if you're thinking ahead, you can imagine like I'm getting stuff from my post request. I'm like extracting the information I want, and I can set that in a variable. And that's literally all you need to do auth with no code. So that's why the 3 features are like really powerful, and that's why we're here today and able to do auth with almost no code. All right, getting back on track. Sign up button, add, that's submit. It's going to go to sign up. I'm going to save it here. I need to pass it kind of the information. So pass it password, pass it email. Okay, that sounds good. Okay. Trying to even think, I can probably already show you. So do like intermediary step right now. That should already be able to, yeah, I'm going to use that Baz now. BAZ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should be able. So it's not going to do anything because I haven't set it up to do anything else. But it should, if everything worked well. Yeah, look at that. My little Baz at Draftbit.com. So what I'm able to do here is like I've essentially created a new user, but I want to do a few more things. I want to save the auth token that I got from that so I can authenticate that user later on. So that's what I'm going to do. First thing we need is the response that we get from a submit data is a fetch object, like in a JavaScript object. So inside there is like a JSON, but I need to like just pass that JSON first. So I'm going to run a custom function, and I'm going to create it first. So this one is just going to be called path.json, and it's going to take the response. Now, what I'm about to do here is actually just a very it's a very simple line. And what's going to happen over the next few days or couple of weeks max at Draftbit is we're going to turn those into like built-in functions. So you don't even have to write those. That's kind of why we've been advertising this live stream as low code. But really, as soon as we got those kind of silly one-liner function as built-in, then it will be like 100% no code. But for now, you have to do that. So I'm going to pass the JSON. It's going to be an async because the fetch is just going to be the response is just going to be a promise. Okay. So I think that's good. Now I can use that function, run a custom. Here you go. I can run a custom function, and the result of that function is going to be sign up, response.
We lost George again, and he'll be back in a few seconds. We're probably gonna. Oh, there he is.
Oh, am I back?
You're back.
All right. Do I need to go back?
Fickle stream. Yeah. Why don't you just rerun that last setup step that you did?
Yeah. So I'm running a custom function that just extract the JSON. So very nothing fancy. The result of that function is going to be called sign up response JSON, and the parameter what I'm going to pass it is just the sign up response that I got from the fetch. So anyway, now I've got my sign up response JSON. I can do a couple of stuff with it. And what I want to do is get that auth token. So maybe I should also re-illustrate that. The name of the game is I'm doing this sign up call and I want to access, I want to access, what did I do here? Oh, yeah, I'm trying to sign up. Really what I want is, I guess, okay, sorry. I'm going to call it differently because that user already exists, so it doesn't let me do it. But so I'm doing a sign up, and I want to extract that auth token from the response. That's kind of what I'm trying to do here. So I'm going to do another custom function that's going to be called get Xano auth token. Yeah, should be it. And it's going to take a JSON as a parameter, and then it's going to return, programming is okay here. Auth token JSON. Okay, that should be good enough. So now I have this, I can, like I said, run that custom, this is the pass one. So I'm going to run another custom function to say, pass the Xano token, give it the JSON that I passed before, and this one is going to be called Xano Auth token. Okay, I think that's all I need. I might just go to auth token. That's even easier. Okay. So now I have my auth token. I need to save it in that variable. Oh, yeah. Let me tweak that a tiny bit. I'm gonna call it instead get Xano authorization header, and that way I'm gonna put the bear. It'll just be easier. What I'm gonna do is just, I'm gonna call it differently because that user already exists, so it doesn't let me do it. But so I'm doing a sign up, and I want to extract that auth token from the response. So I'm going to do another custom function that's going to be called get Xano auth token. So already format the authorization header in the way it should be. That'll be easier for later. So it's not just the auth token, it's actually the authorization header that I'm gonna return here with the bear and the auth token. Okay, that should be good. So this is what I'm gonna run here. Yeah, and the result is gonna be Xano authorization header. All right, we're getting there. And I'm gonna pass it the JSON that I passed. Okay. So now this should contain the actual header. So the very last thing I need to do is to save it. So I'm going to save that global variable to, the global variable that was named Xano authorization header. And here it is. The result of my previous action is here, and I don't need to do any transformation of it on it, and it should be saved. And yeah, I guess at the very end, I'm just going to navigate back to home. And that should be it. We should have sign up done now. So let's give it a try. Let's see if it works on the first try. Okay, I'm gonna, how many test users do you have so far? I have 10. All right, we're gonna try another one. We're gonna do user 11 at draftbit.com. I'm gonna call it test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and sign up. Oh, so it went back to home, and in the process, it set the right Xano authorization header. And when I said that, I should actually double check that it was created in the database. Yeah, here it is, user 11. So just like that, we've done sign up. Now, the next step, obviously, you see that I don't want to see that sign up link and logging link when I'm already signed up. So I'm going to take care of that. On the home screen, I've got those views. This one is the one with the sign up and logging buttons. So this one is for when I'm logged out. And this one is for the logout button. So it's when I'm logged in. That makes sense for everybody. And this is I'm about to show a feature that is released that we talked a little bit before the last officer, but it's kind of cool. So you can have a conditional display. So I'm going to say only show that component, that view, if the authorization header exists. And one thing I'm going to do here, like I said, we're going to have that as a built-in function. Oh, wait, we already do. I forgot. We just did that yesterday. Look at that. Okay, so
wow.
I'm getting the variable. I'm turning that into a Boolean. And if it exists, well, I should say if it does not exist, I'm going to show you the sign up and login button, right? And if it exists, I'm going to show you the logout. Right, yeah, that's correct. So turn that into Boolean. And if it exists, I'm showing you the logout button. Okay.
So cool.
So this is, I'm logged in, obviously, because I already have that, header being saved. What if I click, oh, I didn't do anything yet on the logout button. So
you have to set the logout behavior.
Exactly. Yeah. So I need to set that variable to, I'm just going to set it to false. Small point, all the global variable are strings now. That's why you see me type like those quote. And that also why you see me when I retrieve that variable, turn that into, like pass that as a Boolean because they're strings. So just be aware of that. Okay, so I think that's it. I'm debating, I forgot if I have to re-navigate as I same screen. Let's find out. I think it should be automatically done, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm logged in. I click log out, and boom, I stayed on the screen. I removed everything in that global variable. So now I'm seeing the logging in logout button. And I can obviously go and back, and I know where for me to find that logout button again. All right. We have 10 minutes. Do I do the login, which is, you can imagine it's pretty similar. Obviously, it's a very similar call. Or do I try to do 1 hour stretch goal?
Can you bang out login in 5 minutes, and then maybe we can get started on stretch goal?
Yeah.
We can also like go over a little bit since we started late.
I'm debating. You know what might
It's
be
up to
good?
you. You're driving.
So my stretch goal were error handling and returning the whole object. I might.
Or maybe we'll do neither. If George keeps getting booted out, I should get like a countdown. 3, 2, 1. There he is.
Here we go. I'm not going far, just right there. All right, so I'm gonna do, like I said, I'm gonna try to do error handling quickly. So I submit the data, I turn that into a JSON, I get the header, I set that header to that variable, and then I navigate away to home. What if in my Xano call, when I try to do sign up, what if I put something wrong? What if it was like missing an ampersand, the at thing, for example? So I get this like error message. So I want to be able to catch that. So let's see. What I'm going to do is create a new custom function that's going to say get Xano error message. And I'm going to pass it the JSON. This one, I'm going to use a little bit of like previous knowledge here, but like I do know, if I'm not mistaken, that the format of like Xano is returning is going to be a dictionary, and the first one is message, and then it gives you the error. So if I have message in that JSON, I want to do JSON, I want to take that message. Now, I'll admit this is not necessarily the most robust way to do it, because like, what if the message is not an error but something else? But anyway, for the purpose of this demo, that should be good enough. Okay. Okay, so if I do have a message in my JSON, I return it. Otherwise, I put it to false. Okay, that should be straightforward enough. Okay, so now I'm going to add that thing. I'm going to run that custom function. Let's get an error message. I'm going to pass it the response JSON. I'm going to call it Xano error message. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to move it right before I moved it up, right before I navigate away. Now, I've extracted the error. I need to remember, I need to like save it. So that's a very similar process to the authorization header. So error message, I'm just going to create a variable here. It's going to be false. And then again, in my sign up button, I'm gonna, now that I've extracted it, I won't save it to the global variable. So save that error, and I'm gonna give it the Xano error message. No transformation needed. Okay, and up, I'm gonna move it right above, like when I navigate away and I go to home. Okay, so that should be all good. If I have error, it should be parsed and it should be saved. Now, I do need to make sure that in my home, like in my debug, I'm going to show it so we can see what it is. Otherwise, it'll be useless. So error, okay. Error message. So perfect. Okay, so right now it's false. Okay, let's give it a try. Ooh, let's find out. Restart that. Okay, so what if I do, I'm gonna forget that at again. And then, Sign up. Okay. And I got an invalid email format. So there's a couple of things. So it worked. I got my error message back. I can right now I put in debug, but can you imagine making it bigger and red and all that? There's a couple of things. There's one main thing. We have a feature coming up to allow you to stop from navigating to the home screen if there is an error. Right now, what you saw me do is I made an error. I still got to the home screen. I wasn't logged in, so I didn't see anything I should not see. But that's where I got to see the error message. Ideally, I obviously want to see it in the sign-up page, right? But right now, I don't currently have a way to stop from going to home. So that's coming up soon. This is a feature we're gonna release in the short term. So you will be able to display that error message here. But the main point of the story is that you were able to get I'm in edit mode now, but you were able to get the error message back from Xano. Stretch goal number 1.
There you go.
Okay.
So could you so if you wanted to show the error message in red here, you could put that in its own text component. You could make it red. You could conditionally display it if it was not false or if it was truthy.
Yep.
And then could you also, maybe you have to write a line of code for this, but if your request was successful, could you reset the error to false in the app variables? Because otherwise, wouldn't that, if you errored the first time and your app variable was set to the error code, and then you successfully logged in the second time, your error message might still show up because that app variable would still be set to truthy.
Right. So yes, the first part of the question, you're right. You can create its own text component, make it big, make it red, do anything you want in it, like conditionally show it or don't show it. Because the error is the whole text right now, I don't even have to conditionally show it or not. Like when it's empty, it'll be empty, so you won't see anything. But you're right, you can still not even show the component. To the second part of your question, what you'll want to do is, because you make a very good point, you want to reset that, right? If everything went well. So what I would do is, I will, in that list of chained actions, I will start by saying is there an error? And if there is, I will display it and then stop. And what I will do is, after that stop, is reset the error to nothing, because I know then that there will be no errors. Because if there were an error, I would have already stopped earlier. Does that make sense? So as soon as we have that kind of ability to break that chain of actions, what you will do is, after the break, you will reset all the errors, because you've done an if statement, right? Like if there's error, you do this, otherwise reset everything.
You know what I think you could actually do? And again, this is a little bit hacky, but I think you could actually set in this chain, you could actually set the variable to false before, as long as it's in this chain, in the step before you set the error, you catch the error. In other words, you're basically resetting it. So you're always setting it to false first.
You're so 100% right. It's so obvious. I didn't even think of it. Yes. So let's do. You're right. Actually, that's so cool. You came up with that.
Because it's all synchronous, right? It's all chained synchronously.
Right. So here, if I make a mistake, let's see. Oh, did I break something? No. All right. So invalid error. I got my error. Now, if I try to do it again, but this time I do it right, I just want to demonstrate that it will be. I hope was that the right password? No. Right. I'm gonna be signed in, but you're right. Like I'm still seeing errors. Well, it sucks because that's a different error. But
so you're logged in.
I'm doing something a little too confusing. All right, let me take a step back because I'm going to lose people here a little bit. I'm going to just apply where you just said and not try to illustrate what happened when we don't do it, because it's gonna be too much. So you're right. At any given time, you can set that error message variable to false. Nothing. Actually, that's even better. Here we go. And just put that as you just did this one. Yeah. So put this one right before I do. You can even go one step further. Yeah, right before I get the error. I lost myself a little bit here. It's nope. Right, it's this one. So put it down. Did it go down?
So what George is doing right now is he's basically, because all these actions are chained together synchronously, we're setting the value to false before we catch the error and set it to whatever the error is. So if there's no error, then we're not doing anything. But if there is an error, we're changing it back from false to whatever the error code is.
Yep. So now I should be able to, I mean, that's what I wanted to do it, start by showing what happened when you don't do it right, because it's going to be hard to see how now it works, but like you'll have to take our word for it. That essentially this one worked out and the error was just removed.
Sweet.
Entirely. So yeah, that's a very good call. We already have that available on the platform. You don't have to wait for anything. Okay.
All right, so you just knocked out one stretch goal.
Yeah. Do I go over and try to do the like adding the auth user to the sign up request, or is that we're saving that for another time?
I'm good right now if you want to keep going.
I am, yeah. Let's try to do it. I'll try to rush a little bit, but it'll be cool. So as I mentioned, once you're on the home screen, and you're logged in, what you can obviously do is a fetch and try to get information with that auth token that you receive. So I'm going to try to do just that. So I'm going to call that me endpoint to just get information about myself, and I'm going to show, for example, my email. Welcome to the email name. Okay, and email is going to be mapped to that me endpoint I'm calling and the email part of it. So now, see if that works right away. Might have to. Oh yeah, still doing login. So every time I'm going to have to like create a new user, but it's okay. Okay, what am I? User 11. I'm going to do user 12 now. Okay. Okay, sign up. Oh, yeah, it didn't show my. Why didn't that work? Sign up. Oh, I might have broken something because you see my auth header is now empty. I think I might have I might have been a little too enthusiastic with those chained action.
Oh, it just showed up when you.
Oh, it did? Oh no, that's when I went to edit mode because that was the previous data. So let me try. I'm getting this, passing it. Oh, that makes sense. I'm setting. Yeah, see, that should not be here. That should be after. First, I need to get it. That's it. And then I need to set it. Got it. And then I reset the error to 0. And then I get the error. And then I set the new error. Oh, even though, yeah, see, that's also a wrong one. I need to set it to Xano error message. Okay. And then I move away. Okay. I think I'm good now. Oh, wait. Okay. Well, I'll leave it like that for now. Let's see if that fixed it. I forgot I'm a user. I'm going to start at 20. Sign up. Here we go. So now
Yay.
ignore the force because that's just the what came from later. But like I was able to do a fetch on the auth.me endpoint using reusing the auth token that I got from the sign up endpoint. That's pretty awesome. You can do welcome back. Now there's one quick thing that the guy at Xano, yeah, I'm gonna remove it here. We'll still have to see the error here if it happens. They mentioned to us something very cool. So in your sign up, there's one thing you can do is you can customize the response. So here I'm only showing the auth token, but what if I added the user, the auth user directly in the sign up response? That way I don't even have to refetch it later. So I'm going to try to do that. Let's see if it works. I'm going to do it live. Okay, so that's my sign up. Food 22. I need to change the name every time, obviously, because I've only done the sign up. Oh, invalid email format. Oh yeah, still forgot the at. Okay. So here we go. Look at that. Literally 3 clicking Xano to add the auth user as part of the response from sign up. So now on the Draftbit, and I might have to like kind of re-update. That's my sign up. Do all of this. This guy might already exist now, so this. Let me try that again to see if I'm getting. Here we go. I'm getting the right like auth user in that response. That's awesome. I'm getting it on the Draftbit side. Now, what I want to do is there's 2 things I could be doing. I could save it, same thing we did before for the auth token. I could save that user in a variable, or I could just pass it from one screen to the next. I'm going to try, because we've already did the first one, I'm going to try to illustrate that second one. So now, how do I pass it? In Navigate, you can pass it data. But before I do that, I need to get it. So I'm going to create a new function. It's going to be get Xano Auth user email. Okay.
Can we do name? Because you have a name for them.
Yeah, we can absolutely do name. I don't know if I've set up a name for them, but we'll go and add a name database, and it'll be good. It's a good idea. So what does it look like again, that thing? So it's going to be auth user. So if auth user is in JSON, then I want to get the auth user, and more specifically the name. Okay. Otherwise, just do, I don't care. Don't show anything. Okay. Save that. Okay. Auth username. So now, right before I do the navigate away, I'm gonna run a little custom function, the one I just created, auth username. I'm gonna call it Xano Auth user name. And then I'm going to pass it the sign up response JSON. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to move this one right before I move to home, because then now in this one, what I can do is say, pass it the data, pass it the auth user name. And it's going to be, well, where is it? Oh, here it is. And auth username. Okay, auth username. So now when I get to the home screen, when I'm logged in, I can either do the fetch, or I can just display what I received. Yeah, let me reorder. Yeah, like this. I can show what I received. Welcome name. And this is I'm gonna see now that navigation parameter, that is auth username. So let's give it a try. I think we got, obviously in edit mode, it hasn't gone through the flow, so that's why it's empty now, but let's give it a try. Oh, and keep in mind, like first let me log out. I'm going to create a user. You know, because if I demo it, it's going to be null because the name is going to be empty. So it's not going to be a great demo. So I want to just very quickly see if I can add the name, because that'd be so much better. Okay, here's a name. So everybody follow along. Okay. Now, when I do sign up and I submit the data, I'm going to kind of edit my endpoint to also take the name. It'll be such a nicer demo. It'll be all worth it. Okay. I'm going to create about 3 for now. Okay. Now I'm going to pass it the name, so hopefully that'll be better. Okay. See, now I have a name. So in that way, I do all this. Let me save that. And now when I'm here, I can say, I think I'm done. I just need to pass it the name. Oh, wait, no, there is one thing. In the sign up button, when I do the submit here, yeah, I need to set that up to, I didn't change the name, but I know it's this one because it's the only one that doesn't have a good name. So, all right, let's give it a try. Sign up. I'm going to say George. I'm going to be George 42 because I think the regular George is already used. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at that. This account is already in use. Oh yeah, I used the same. I changed the name, but I used. Let me try to do. Potato, French potato. You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if the name, if it's already also checking the name for making sure. No, it's a little strange. Okay, maybe I went a little too fast. What happened there? Let me sign up name. Okay. Now
we may or may not get this working during this office hours, but we can always continue. I wonder if it's something like no, actually no, never mind.
Well, those were gone, so maybe there was a little. Maybe I miss. I don't know. So let's try this one. Let's try now. All right, and look at that. Welcome, Georges Verger. That's me. It was. So what happened is that those value was, I don't know, maybe I resetted them or I removed them, but they were not properly attached. So anyway, now it's attached. See, I set up the name with the right email, and in Draftbit, I was able to, this line I'm getting through the sign-up call, and I'm passing that information that I added as a custom response in Xano. I'm passing it through that second screen. And this one is me making a second call using the auth header that's been saved in my application. So I can use that further, like even later on when I want to find other stuff. So that illustrates kind of a couple of stuff, and this is definitely addressing our second stretch goal.
Wow, yes. Did it. Cool. Well, we still have folks here, so we'll give you like 30 seconds. Questions for George, comments for George, rounds of applause for George, if we can drop those in. If you enjoyed what you just saw, definitely come check out Draftbit at draftbit.com. Get your free account. All of the features that George demoed, well, some of them we're releasing next week, but all the features are available on the free plan, no credit card required. And if you need help getting your Xano Auth set up, you can drop us a line in the Draftbit community, which is community.draftbit.com. George, thank you so much for joining us this Friday. Really enjoyed having you and showing us this. This is going to be a super helpful video. I know a ton of us are going to go watch the recording of this and try to get our own auth setups created with Xano. So thank you. And yeah, next week Draftbit is off on Friday, so we may or may not do a live stream. William wants to know if it's George or George.
You spell it with the S at the end, but you can pronounce it the American way. It's fine.
We may do a special live stream earlier in the week, but we will not be live on Friday as normal. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, George, for joining us. And see you all soon.
Thank you all. That was very cool. It's such a good time.
All right.